and thank you for joining us today. We are on location at Delavoye Chocolate with Antoine. I am Rekha, the R in RNG, on location with RNG. And today we are here to talk a little bit about Edmonton's premier chocolate factory, in my opinion, and probably unrivaled. So here we are with Antoine. How are you doing today?
Good, yourself?
I'm doing great, thanks. Can you tell us a little bit about Delavoye Chocolate Factory and what does the name mean in the first place?
Yeah, so Delavoye Chocolate maker. So in chocolate making, we talk about single origin, where do beans come from, and I was trying to find a name, and I kind of reflected on myself as to where do I come from, my own origin. Sorry. And yeah, so my last name is Lavoye, and the origin, I know, it's very French.
Yeah.
And the name of the business comes from the origin of Lavoye.
Oh,
so
wow.
yeah, I know.
Beautiful.
Yep.
Hello and welcome today to our episode at Delavoye Chocolate Maker. We are here on 124 Street with Antoine, who is our guest today. My name is Rekha. I'm the R in RNG from On Location in RNG. And today we're going to be talking about chocolate.
Yes.
How are you doing today, Antoine?
Good, you?
I'm doing great, thank you. Can you tell us a little bit about where the name of your chocolate factory comes from?
Yes, so Delavoye Chocolate Maker. In bean to bar chocolate making, we talk about single origin, where do those beans come from. And when I was trying to find a name for my business, I kind of took a look at my own origin, and I discovered that my name was English before it was French. So it went from Delavoye to Lavoye. So I kind of like the sound of it.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Yeah.
You kind of have a little bit of both origins there in the love of your chocolate and, of course, in the love of ourselves forever, right?
Yeah.
So what kind of inspired you to go in the direction of chocolate making, and kind of like what was that moment for you?
Wow, that's a loaded question, to be honest. So I'm a curious person. My background is in medical laboratory, and I like to know where things come from and how things are made. And one day I was just wondering how chocolate was made. Like, we eat chocolate all the time. And
it keeps us young, of course. Forever.
Yes, well, not when you start a business. But I was just wondering, like, we've been eating chocolate all our lives, but we don't even know where it's from. So I started to do my own research, and kind of was amazed by it. And it started small, just YouTube videos, and found a online school, and then bought a small bag, and kind of stumbled from there, and it became bigger and bigger and bigger, and without wanting, it was just passion. So that's how it all started, and it's been a blast since the beginning.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah.
How many years did it take for you to, like, from when you first started learning about chocolate? Like in anything, you are constantly learning, right? So I'm not a master in what I'm doing. I love to know more, but it took about 3 years to now. Yeah. So just learning, and a lot of trial and errors, if I can say. Yeah, I think that's beautiful,
Yeah.
especially when you say that, like with trial and errors and anything that we learn and do.
Yeah.
There's something just honestly magical about getting something wrong until you can get it right. And as you can see where we are, Antoine got it right, girl. You know, so here we are today, and we get to kind of see some of the fruits of your passions.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Turning into turning into quite literally all of this.
Yeah.
So today we're going to get to see a little bit of the process behind making chocolate.
Yeah.
If any of you have seen the Delavoye Chocolate Maker social media, and also some of the social media that other influencers in Edmonton have been posting, you'll see that there have been little bits about the bean itself. Is this the bean itself?
That's a pod.
The pod itself?
Yes.
See, I'm going to be getting an education as well today. If this was one bean, girl, I shudder to think about what the whole pod would look like, right? Like, this is the pod. So we're going to get to see a little bit about that today.
Yeah.
So I see a few little interesting things here.
Yeah.
Can you tell me a little bit about what we're looking at?
Yeah, so those, if you can see, so those are the beans, cacao beans. We get them from a broker down in the States. They go to the origin themselves because we would have to purchase quite a bit of bags to make it worth it, and it would be too expensive. So we deal with a broker, and we get them raw, which means they've been dried, and then when we receive them, we sort through them. So our students right now are sorting through 18 kilos of beans, and those ones I've roasted. So once they're roasted, I'll try to crack. Yeah, so that's a bean, a cracked bean. So this is a nib, which is all this jar. And then the kind of the other product are the husks. This is not used in the chocolate making, but we do a tea with it here. And the nibs, if they're pressed, we don't do the pressing here, but at the origin in Tanzania, they do the pressing, and they press the nibs, and the butter comes out, seeks out, so you're left with cacao butter.
You can actually smell that once you crack that bean.
This one is very, very fragrant. There's a lot of cacao butter that have been, I know, right? that have been.
So good.
Yeah. This one's my favorite, especially when we heat it up, warm it up. The place smells like chocolate.
Like
chocolate.
This smells like the candy, the treat of it all. This is almost like I want to drink this.
Yeah.
Like nutty, and I kind of want to almost make it into a tea for sure. But this one's like, either I want to put it on my skin, on my face. Like
you'd smell like like chocolate.
I would smell so good. Oh my gosh, yes, that would be the best perfume I could ever wear right there. Turn this into skincare.
Yeah.
$1 million idea.
I think I'll stick to chocolate.
Oh my God. That smells so good. What do you do with the butter?
So when we make chocolate, we use the nibs, and then we put them in the machine along with the butter, and that transform into chocolate in minutes. Chocolate making is a really long process. There are 12 steps into chocolate making. There are 3 that are done at the origin, so harvesting, fermenting, and drying. And once they're dried, we get it here, we sort through them, and then after we roast, we crack and winnow. So basically what I did, I cracked, and winnow is just kind of separating the husk, which is lighter in weight than the nibs. And then we take the nibs, we put them in these melangers, stone melangers for 3 days. It spins nonstop for 3 days along with the cacao butter. And then we put it in a tempering machine, and then we produce some chocolate, some bars.
Wow.
Yes.
That's amazing. So we're starting off from here, the pod.
Yes. So this is at the origin. This is harvested by hand. So we actually do have a Theobroma cacao tree.
Okay.
Right there, and they produce cacao beans. Usually, this one is very dry. It's been sitting on the counter for demonstration for the past few months, but usually it's bright in color. It's yellow or bright red, and they cut it open and they remove the beans, and there's a pulp around it, usually, and the pulp, they usually keep the pulp for the fermentation process. There are some places that remove the pulp, make it into a puree, and we make a juice with the pulp. Would you like to try?
I would love to try.
Yeah.
Who would I be if I turned down something to drink, you know?
So the pulp is very citrusy. Yes, yeah, I know it's surprising, right?
Wow.
It comes from a cacao fruit pod.
I would have never thought by the scents that are going on here. I would have never thought that would be the taste, because it is like very citrusy.
Yeah.
Has a really nice nectar to it. It quite literally tastes a lot like a nectar. It has that really nice like
mouthfeel.
Yeah, it has a great mouthfeel. It's very almost silky. Nectar. It's just like this perfect amount of thickness to it. And I feel like I'm getting younger. I know what this chocolate's good for. It's going to keep me young forever. And the antioxidants, I think that's the key. Or can you can you tell us a little bit about the amazing health benefits, especially with the pulp? This is delicious.
Well, this is just so the juice that we make. Basically, we get it as a puree, and we add a bit of maple syrup to it. Yeah, we're keeping it Canadian, right?
Yes.
French Canadian, especially.
Sirop d'érable. Let's go. No?
So it's just to cut a bit of the tartness. So yes, it's a bit sweeter, but it's a fruit, and chocolate is full of antioxidant, and we don't put a bunch of ingredients in our chocolate. So our single origin chocolate is solely cacao nibs, cacao butter, and organic cane sugar. So that's it. So you'll taste different. We have a 75% Peruvian chocolate and 72% Vietnamese chocolate. The taste will be totally different, even though they're the same ingredients, but not the same beans. Right? So where they come from, the type of trees make it very different. So this is a lot better than eating just Mars bars.
Oh, yes, of course.
Because Mars is not chocolate, just...
It's candy. That's different.
Yes, candy.
But I wonder, is it something to do with just the variation in the plant itself, or does it have to do with climate as well?
Everything. So the soil, Vietnamese, where we source our Vietnamese beans, they're from the Dak Lak province, so they're a little bit more in altitude compared to, for example, Cusco in Peru, and the climate, the rainfalls during the year, the dryness, if there's a dry period, that can affect a lot the cacao beans. The taste. So, for example, we were working with last year's harvest for Ecuadorian beans, and we just changed to the new harvest, and there's a huge difference in the color and in the taste. And when I say a huge difference is they're the same trees, obviously,
but
right?
you're seeing a difference in the pods that it's producing.
Yeah, the taste, I find it stronger this time. In like the tasting notes are more defined for this harvest. Yeah, so
that's kind of nice. I mean, like especially for me, like I've never really done a chocolate tasting before. I mean, yes, I've had the typical dark chocolate from the store.
Yeah.
You know, there's the different like like the Lindt. They've got the peppers, the mint, all that kind of stuff. But it's not the same as really tasting the chocolate itself.
Yeah. Exactly.
You know, like it's a flavored chocolate as opposed to the tasting notes of the chocolate.
Yeah.
And knowing that there might be a harvest that was a little bit more pronounced, that would be huge, getting to try for the first time and then kind of get into that, oh, this one's a little bit more of a subtle taste this time, but I still can tell the difference. Do you know anything about what's the process behind learning how to taste chocolate?
So learning to taste takes time, and when I started this, I was like, oh, it's for like fancy people,
Yeah.
you're like kind
You
of
came
rolling.
to visit us, thank you.
No, but what I mean is, before I started, I was like, oh, like tasting notes, it's just made
chocolate.
up,
Yeah, it's
right?
chocolate, yeah.
But then when you take the time and you analyze it and you can taste it properly, then you notice, oh yeah, it tastes like raisins, it tastes like molasses, it tastes like passion fruit. So it opens your eyes and your palate. And I like to try molasses here and there, passion fruit, raspberry, or cranberries. I eat them to keep my memory, my palate heightened, so that I can pick out those flavors quicker. Yeah. So it's about tasting and tasting and tasting, and I've been tasting a lot of chocolate because every batch, I need to try. So
you need to know what you're working with, right?
Yes. So poor me, I have to eat chocolate.
That just means you're getting all the antioxidants.
Yeah.
I have an Asian background, and growing up with the Filipino aunties, they're not eating the milk chocolate. No. They're not eating white chocolate. They're eating the dark chocolate because they know what they want to do. They want to stay young around the eyes forever. Okay? They want that good skin for a really long time, and that's the secret. All the antioxidants. So you're going to be young forever. You don't have to worry about that.
I'm not too sure about that.
I wonder, what goes into kind of putting together a tasting? How do you choose your bean or your pods?
So when I do a tasting experience, for example, we've been doing it for a few weeks now because we just opened 2 months ago, and we have a limited amount of chocolate bars, and we focus on single origin. We talked about a flavored bar from Lindt. We still do a few because people like flavored chocolate, so we have to obviously cater. But we focus on single origin, and that's what you want to do when you do a tasting class. You want to pick out the single origin to highlight the notes. So we have 4 at the moment. There's a 5th bar that is going to be released soon, 80% dark chocolate. And when you do a tasting class or a tasting experience, I like to say, you start with the darkest one, the darkest chocolate, so 80, and you make your way down. It takes time. You don't want to do 10 at a time because you're going to overwhelm, and at one point you're going to be taste blind. and everything is kind of going to taste the same.
All the same, yeah.
Yeah. So when we do an experience like this, we try to pace it. So it's usually an hour and a half. It's long to taste 5 different chocolates, but it's worth it and people enjoy it. So yeah, that's how we do a tasting experience.
Oh, amazing.
Yeah.
What does it mean to have those different percentages, and why do people want to gravitate towards like a higher percent of chocolate?
Yeah, so when we talk about 80% dark chocolate, that means that 80% of the chocolate bar itself contains cacao mass. And cacao mass is your cacao butter and your cacao nibs. So 80% of that bar is made with those 2 ingredients. Mm-hmm. The remaining is any other ingredient. So in our case, 20% is sugar. Okay. So the higher you go, the least amount of sugar there is. So I made 100% chocolate bar for a customer one time, and it's just nibs and butter.
Wow.
Yeah, so no sugar at all. So the benefit is that you're cutting on sugar and you're just eating something that is very natural. So,
beautiful. Yeah. Is there something about going towards like cutting out the sugar, especially for what kind of pods? Like, how would you choose which chocolate to do that with?
So when I kind of develop my recipes to make my bars, it's a very long process. So it can take weeks or months to develop one chocolate bar, because we get the beans like that, and then we have to find the flavor profile. So if, for example, the Dominican Republic ones, there's notes of fruit in there, then I cannot increase the temperature too high because I'm going to get rid of those notes. So we do a flavor profile, and then after that we do many roasts to find the perfect one. And then after that we have to do tests as to what the percentage is better. So for Vietnam, I had done a 70, 72, and 75, and I just prefer the 72. It was not too sweet and not too raisiny, because it has some raisins, molasses notes.
Okay.
So that's how it's trial and error, and like I can use the same beans as you, but what differentiates me from you is my roast profile. And if I'm doing an 80% and you're doing a 70%, we're using the same cacao beans, but we're 2 different chocolate makers, right? So it's about the preferences also of the process. Yeah, it's complicated.
I'm super excited to see how this works, because oh, here we go. Great. This is great. Gabby wants to know, why chocolate maker and not chocolatier?
Yes, so the difference, and there's a huge difference here. Chocolatier, basically, they purchase chocolate, in pastille, in bag. It's already made. They melt it and they make bonbons or truffles. They become creative. They add jams. And chocolate makers, like me, we source their raw ingredients. So we go from the raw ingredients and we make the chocolate, compared to getting the chocolate and making a different product. We focus on the chocolate itself and not like adding too much flavors or any additives to it. So that's the huge difference.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
So we're definitely focusing on the good itself.
Yes, exactly.
Rather than trying to turn it into something different completely. What kind of creative things do you do here in your factory?
So we, obviously our chocolate bars, just like we're trying to bring out the taste of those beans, and we want to highlight the hard work of the farmers, but we also play with flavors. So we have a raspberry vanilla bar, raspberry and chocolate. Sometimes raspberry can overpower the chocolate, but because we're a chocolate making factory, we cannot just let raspberry win.
No, of course not.
So we try to find ways to balance everything. So in our raspberry bar, we dust the back of the bar with some raspberry, and we just put a little bit of the raspberry flavors into the chocolate. So when you take a bite, you have the burst of raspberry because it's on your tongue, and then after it's chocolate. So they're not competing; they're just together.
They're like delivering an experience.
Exactly.
That first little bit of flavor, and then it kind of just moves into something else. Earlier, we were trying a few of your chocolates on the side there.
Yes.
Because, we were a little curious. And I got to try that passion fruit one and that raspberry vanilla that you had mentioned. And it is a very interesting experience to start with, like especially the passion fruit. The chocolate and the fruit itself are not competing, exactly as you mentioned. And there's just that perfect amount of the fruit itself, very bright and fresh tasting. How do you keep that fruit, so perfectly powerful so you can balance it?
Yeah, so again, this is trial and errors. I start with what I think would be a good amount. I start sometimes just mixing a little bit to give me an idea how strong it is, and then I make a batch, and then okay, it's too strong. Let's dial it back of 1% of that, and then sometimes that 1% is too much, and then you cannot taste passion fruit or raspberry. So then you increase it. It's just playing, and to make sure that I highlight my chocolate and I don't highlight the passion fruit.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
So, and it's just, when I started to this journey, I'm going to be making passion fruit. I'm going to be making raspberry because this is my chocolate and I want, and those are my favorite fruit. So I'm going to do this. And we have like a dark milk chocolate bar. We don't have it at the moment. We're sold out, and we're waiting for the new harvest in March. But I love coffee, kind of like everybody.
Yeah.
So I make one with coffee. So we add some coffee beans into the chocolate when it's melanging, and when it's time to mold the chocolate, we put some ground, like big coarse ground pieces of nibs and coffee beans. So,
oh, okay.
yeah.
I love that. It's like quite literally in the mix itself.
Yeah.
Gorgeous. Oh my God. I can only imagine. And I had mentioned, just smelling the beans, they smell so almost like drinkable. It kind of makes me think of like an actual coffee itself. Like what would it be like to make coffee from the chocolate beans? And then what you're doing is literally making chocolate bars from the coffee beans, and like, oh, it smells so good. And I just, oh my God, it's just like, it gets my brain going. I'm like, this could be so good. Just drinkable.
Yeah.
Eatable. Okay, here we go. Another one. What's
coming?
Yeah, now that we are talking
next?
a little bit about you had mentioned earlier that you have a 5th chocolate bar coming in.
Yes. So I love experimenting and trying new things, and I'm trying to develop, like I mentioned, we're focusing on single origin, and I want to bring more origin. So Dominican Republic is one that we're bringing. So Zorzal, it's reserve. So basically, the value of our business is sustainability, community, and diversity, and we're trying to do that when we source our beans. So the Zorzal, the 80% bar that we're going to be releasing soon, is made from those beans, and those beans are grown on a reserve, a private reserve in the Dominican Republic, and along with a bird sanctuary. So it's a small estate, and they hire people around the reserve to grow those beans. So we're trying to highlight that in our bar. We're going to have maybe some chocolate hazelnut spread.
Of course, we need
maybe.
it.
Yes, and we've had a lot of requests about getting, like, if we had hot chocolate to go, in a sense, like do it to do at home. And I'm not a fan of, melting chocolate with hot water. It's not my thing, know. And
it's literally a faux pas.
Yeah.
Like, if I wanted chocolate flavored water, I would get chocolate flavored water.
Yes, exactly.
I want a hot chocolate.
Exactly. And like the cacao powder, every time I would get one, I'm just on. It's very underwhelming. It's not well mixed, so we are thinking of releasing a product that will avoid the customers any mixing, or it would be a ready-to-go hot chocolate. So, like at home, like ready to drink, I should say.
Ready to drink, yes.
So no mixing, and we know that it's milk and our chocolate. It's not cacao powder and water, right? So
yes.
it stays with the focus of our brand of like quality over quantity. So that's the focus.
Oh yeah, I mean it'd be very easy to go home and be like, oh, I'm not gonna do milk. I'm just gonna. It's hot chocolate. I'm just gonna do water. No. That's not how it works.
No.
I know this past winter, I was actually thinking about that. I'm like, I wonder if there was like I had thought about some of our chocolate stores or chocolate shops in Edmonton, and thought about, oh, well, I could just buy the chocolate bar and melt it at home, but then trying to do that, knowing that I have no experience in melting chocolate, was like, okay, then I'll try to do it with like hot milk or do this. And standing there stirring, I couldn't do it anymore. I just couldn't do it. It just doesn't make sense. But to be able to do what you're saying with like a hot chocolate to go.
Yeah.
Girl, I want to be in my living room by the fire with a real hot chocolate. I want to dip a croissant in it, you know? That's what I want. That's what I want. A real hot chocolate, okay? So that sounds absolutely amazing. And I mean, if you can see here, you guys, is like a gorgeous wall of some of the chocolate that Antoine has going on, and it is beautiful. I am way too excited. Yeah. So what do you think will come first with
the product? Yeah. Probably the 80%, because you're going to see it. It's in the tempering machine at the moment, so we just have to mold it, and then we can send I know we kind of went ahead, like a step ahead, so we're already producing without having the packaging. Usually we do a test, we send for our packaging to get the packaging, and then we can produce. So we're just finishing a few things for packaging, so maybe next week we should be able to sell some, and after that I don't know, we shall see.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
I guess we'll have to take us into seeing how that chocolate bar is doing. Yeah. Antoine is going to be taking us on a little mini tour in the back, so we can get an idea of what that process of chocolate making is like. So we'll be right back. I am Rekha, one of your hosts with RNG, and we're here today with Antoine at Delavoye Chocolate maker. So today we're looking at a few things that Antoine has prepared for us. Can you take us through what we're looking at?
So on top of making chocolate, we want to highlight our chocolate into baked goods and drinks. So we make hot chocolate. Today I'm going to be serving you our weekend raspberry vanilla hot chocolate that we make with that we top with homemade marshmallows.
Beautiful.
There we go. Perfectly roasted.
Oh, gorgeous!
And then I'll just put that here. And then put some raspberry on top. Raspberry flavor. Here we go. So this one is made with, we do a blend for this chocolate because in the mix it's raspberry, like the hot chocolate itself is a raspberry chocolate. And this is a combination of Ecuadorian and Tanzanian beans because Ecuador, our Ecuadorian chocolate is very fudgy and nutty, and Tanzanian is very fruity. So instead of having chocolate and raspberry competing, you have our Ecuadorian and Tanzanian that are supporting the flavor of the raspberry.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Oh. It's so pretty. Yes, I can. This is a hot chocolate. Yes. This is a hot chocolate. I just turned a little bit French. This is the real hot chocolate. This is, if you've ever thought you had a hot chocolate, I'm so sorry to tell you, no, you did not. Not until you came here. So, all the people who have been here in the last 2 months, they're the ones who are in the leaderboards here for who had hot chocolate. That is gorgeous.
It's rich. I wanted to bring a different kind of feel to the hot chocolate scene here in Edmonton, and I was kind of tired of the very liquid and piping hot, and you're like, oh, it burns my mouth, and it's water and cacao powder. So this is it's literally our chocolate melted with milk.
It has this beautiful texture to it that gives us this really delicate mouthfeel. Like earlier, we were talking a little bit about the puree from the pulp, and that had like a beautiful nectar kind of feel to it. This has this velvety like smoothness. If you've ever seen a kind of any Instagram reels or videos about with people mixing chocolate and how it gets smoother and smoother, when you look at that, this is how that feels in your mouth. It's so smooth, and it just...
And the marshmallow is,
The marshmallow
melting.
gives it this beautiful kind of thickness. It's this just like gorgeous dessert.
Yeah.
It's quite literally a really nice dessert, and I don't think I've ever tried anything like that. So with the raspberry itself, are you making this raspberry powder yourself?
No, so those are freeze-dried raspberries because chocolate and any liquid don't mix. So we have to add dry ingredients, or we could add some oil, or but we do go with freeze-dried fruit. So it's basically the fruit that have been dried, and then they're pulverized into powder. So you have you still have that natural taste of the fruit.
Yeah, the raspberry itself tastes very bright. Like it's very fresh tasting. It's that concentration of raspberry fruit itself that I don't think I've ever had before. But yeah, I understand that freeze dried. It's quite literally the fruit itself.
Yeah, it complements. It doesn't feel like fake or artificial.
Exactly.
Right?
It's very natural, and there's something about, I feel like I've tried to do kind of like the fruit itself contains water. So when you're freeze drying it and have this kind of sprinkled on here, it gives it this nice
Concentrated, right?
yeah, it's like, as you were saying earlier, how the Ecuador and the Tanzania chocolate support each other. I feel like the raspberry kind of adds a little bit of that safety net to be like, here, let's, like, you have these supporting chocolates taking care of each other, and then on top of that, you have this beautiful freeze-dried fruit.
Yeah.
Giving you just a little bit more of that perfect sweetness almost. You know what I mean? Rather than adding more sugar, it's the fruit itself, and that is so good. I can't get enough of it. This is what I've been dreaming about forever when it comes to a hot chocolate, and if you ever need one, this is where you want to be for sure.
And we have brownie. So on top, those are cacao nibs. And then we use our Ecuadorian chocolate. Again, because the selection of chocolate we have, the Ecuadorian is the most typical chocolate in terms of taste. So it's fudgy and nutty compared to like Tanzania is very bright in like red fruit and citrusy. So to make baked goods and hot chocolate, it's better to have like the Ecuadorian chocolate. So
gorgeous.
Yeah.
Okay. When I get that first bite.
Yeah, good?
Never stop. Never stop. You're not allowed.
Thanks.
My God. Am I allowed to say that? Oh, sorry. That is the best brownie I have ever had in my life. I feel like calling it a brownie is not quite the right word. Like, there needs to be a word for it. This is
a Delavoye.
This is a Delavoye. You know, we're here having a Delavoye. That is the name.
We're rebranding. We're just going to,
There are no brownies here. They're called Delavoyes. Please, honey, let's go. Oh my God.
So now that you're tasting the chocolate, you'll be able to see how we make the chocolate to put in those brownies and
How are you getting this perfect texture? Excuse my bite marks, but this is the most perfect texture on on a brownie I've ever seen in my life. It's just gorgeous, like fudgy delicateness. There's this, it's like, it's not necessarily thick. It's this perfect balance. Like, how dare you?
The chocolate speaks for itself.
It does.
You know, like the notes, and it's the farmers that take care of those beans and those trees. And
the chocolate gets over here and it whispers at Antoine and says, "I want to be a Delavoye." That's what's going on here.
I love how you're already like changing the terms. I like this.
This is a Delavoye. This is how it's gonna be. Everyone who sees this is gonna know.
Come for a Delavoye,
Yeah, exactly. Come for a Delavoye.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that is gorgeous. I love how you've married these textures of. So these are the nibs you were saying?
Yes.
You've married this gorgeous texture of the brownie itself here, plus the nibs on top, and they are perfectly. It's just like perfectly tender, which is just gorgeous. And I love how the nibs give it a perfect kind of gentle crunch to it too, and it's just I don't know where I am, but I'm glad I'm here. You know, that's where we're at. So, could you please show us a little bit about how we get to this point?
You're ready?
Yes, I'm so ready. Let's go.
Let's go. So, chocolate making starts by not a so, like, it's not the best part of chocolate making, but we have to sort through the beans to remove any debris. So this is our little factory. It's really small, but I think we're making it work.
You're making really great use of this space.
Oh, thank you. So this is too hot. This is cacao butter in there. We're going to use it in a few minutes. It's piping hot.
It's quite warm, but it's gorgeous. Oh my gosh.
So we have to sort through the beans, and those are raw, so we're handling them with care. So we want to remove any debris or like cracked beans like this, or flat beans. We don't want this in the chocolate, right? We want to get rid of it. So that's what the first step is going through removing any fibers from the bags or any twigs, or I've found little nests of insects, so we have to remove all that. So those are not good. They would just, some chocolate makers don't do this step. They just go directly like from the bag to the roasting, but I prefer to do this so I know that I made sure that every step was taken care of, and I ensure that our chocolate is good quality. So that's the first step. Once we're done with sorting, we roast our beans, and we roast them right now. We're roasting them in our lovely oven, but we also have a roaster, and to do the basically the tests on the roaster, it takes a long time because I started with an oven, so I know that my temperatures, my times, and it gives me a specific flavor profile. So I have to do a lot of tests with this one to make sure that I keep the same chocolate, so you don't notice that we change equipment.
Okay, I see.
Yes, and roasting is a huge part in chocolate making because it's the part, like I mentioned earlier, that differentiates me from another chocolate maker. And we did 3 tests with our Dominican Republic one, and there was a 5-minute difference and a 10-degree Fahrenheit difference between the two, and they were totally different chocolate.
Really?
Yeah. So roasting is a huge step in chocolate making. So sorting, roasting, and then we have some a product that is safe to handle. So the beans that were on the table with us earlier were roasted, so they are ready to move into the next step, which is cracking the beans and separating the husk and just having the nibs.
Okay.
And that's done over there.
Perfect.
Yeah.
So when you're roasting, then,
Yes.
how do you decide on what your roasting preferences are? Is that just like your own personal palate?
Yeah, exactly. So here, obviously I ask friends, like blind test some chocolate. I have some of my employees helping me, and I just, like, for once, it's my business, so I can decide, okay, I want this. I want it to taste a certain way because I think these beans are better roasted at this temperature. But every chocolate maker is different, right? And some people like it very funky. They add a lot of flavors to their chocolate. Some people just like single origin and they don't do anything else. Some people, it's very, it's the creative process, right? So this all the chocolate you're tasting are just because I like the way they ended up tasting through trial and error. That's just, and I usually have kind of a guideline of like, okay, I'm not going to roast at 500 degrees Fahrenheit and another one at 200. You know, they're usually quite in the same range, but there are fluctuations there that can impact the flavors.
Okay.
Yeah.
Very cool. Okay, so what is this process here again?
This is the cracking. So we do put the beans in here, and it cracks, and then the nibs come out. So here we go.
It's almost mesmerizing to watch.
Yes, I love doing this step because it smells incredible in here when I do that for a few hours, and and the shop smells amazing. So, woo. Okay.
Oh yeah, it smells so good.
So now we have cacao nibs, and now we're able to make chocolate.
Yay! I love it.
You want to make chocolate?
Yes, I do.
Hey, I'll get you to put on some gloves.
Okay, both hands?
Yes,
Okay, perfect.
please.
1 and 2. Okay.
And in the pot we have cacao butter that is melted, and we will add the cacao butter into our stone melangers. So this is kind of a quick process, it seems like, but it takes 5 days, 4 to 5 days to make chocolate. It's a really long process.
From sorting?
From receiving, we have the bags here. So we receive them, we do some quality control, and then we do some sorting, roasting, cracking, winnowing, melanging, tempering, molding, packaging. I say 5 days, but it's because you're running and you're focused on this. So you're going to take this, and we're going to go to that table behind.
Okay.
There.
So this table here?
Where the melanger, right?
Oh, here?
Yes,
Okay.
yes, exactly.
Okay.
So this is a stone melanger. So if you look inside, there's a granite base, and the wheels are also in granite. And this basically crushes the nibs and change it into a puree quite fast. But it has to spin for 3 days, just in this, to refine the particles to a size that is not detectable, noticeable. Yes. So I'll pour the cacao butter first.
Okay.
So this is liquid gold. There we go. And now we're going to start slowly.
Okay.
And then you can add a scoop.
A scoop? Okay.
A scoop, yes.
So like this much?
Yes.
Oh, that smells so good. Okay, where am I adding it?
Just add it right here, yes.
Wow.
Yeah. And then you can keep going.
Okay. Oh, that smells amazing. Whoa. Oh my gosh, it's like you can smell the two kind of like marrying each other. It's so good.
So it's because we added cacao butter, it helps in the process of grinding the beans, and it changes pretty fast because the nibs are made out of 50% cacao butter. So that's why just a little bit of heat and friction results in a liquid chocolate.
That smells so good.
Mm-hmm.
It's like you can smell the nibs themselves getting crushed, and then you can smell the cacao butter kind of mixing with it.
Yeah. And usually we do apply some artificial heat to start the process, because it creates friction and heat by itself. So we like to speed up usually the process.
It kind of has a fruity. Do I put more?
No, we're going to leave it. Yes, and you can see, it went from really, really dark.
Yeah.
And now it's kind of light brown. And this is just because it's too cold, and the butter is starting to seize.
Oh. Okay.
Yeah. So we would have to apply some heat and leave that running for 3 days, and then we would add sugar at some point.
Okay.
Yeah.
Ow.
So after 3 days, once this is done, we filter it. So I'll just here we go. We filter the chocolate, and then we put it in the tempering machine that is right here. Yes.
This is the exciting part for me, especially, is because I learned a tiny bit of the tempering from Instagram videos, and seeing the difference between when you temper the chocolate and it gets that really nice solid structure to it.
Yes.
Versus when you let it sit.
Yeah.
And it kind of has flexibility in it still.
Well, so tempering, the process of tempering, it's basically melting. So there's a melting bowl here. It breaks the bonds, like all the cacao butter crystals are released. And then it goes through the machine and it cools instantly to, we have it set to around 30 degrees. So it goes from 50 to 30. And that just brings a specific crystal, which is beta 5, to come and link together. And that's why your chocolate bar snaps and doesn't melt in your hand, and it has this shine on it, and it's because of that process. And this is called a continuous tempering machine. So it heats, cools, heats, cool. It never stops.
So it's the chocolate that it's already heated, it cools it back down again?
Yes, exactly.
Oh, okay.
So this one is at around 30 degrees, the one that is pouring right now. This is around 30 degrees, and this in the mixing bowl is 50.
And what temperatures are optimal for tempering?
So you mean the room or
for the machine?
So 50. So for dark chocolate, melting it's around 50, 55. Tempering is around 29 to 31, and it varies for milk chocolate and white chocolate. So we're in now it's kind of moving, but we're set at 50.5. This is what works well for us. Each machine, each chocolate can be a little bit different. So you could have this machine in Montreal, and the setting, and with the same chocolate, but the setting would be different.
Okay.
Because of they have more humidity over there. So for us, we have 15% humidity right now, and the room's at 21, and that's perfect for chocolate. It's harder in humid areas where it can throw the chocolate out of temper, and that just leaves a crystal not linking properly. and that makes white spots on the chocolate. That's chocolate bloom. So that's just the cacao butter. It looks like moldy, but a little bit, but it's just the cacao butter. So you just melt your chocolate and it's good to go again.
Oh, okay. See, now I have thought about this before because I like to collect things, and Gabby's rolling his eyes at me, but I like to keep things for a really long time, even though I know I can get them again. And chocolate's one of those things. Sometimes I'll just find it and I'll be like, oh, this is still good. Like I pulled it out before and it's still good. It still tastes perfectly fine. There's nothing wrong with it. It just looks different.
Yes.
That's all.
And chocolate is good forever, basically. There are no expiry date. There are only best before dates.
Okay.
And the reason is that for our dark chocolate is 2 years. And after that, it's still good, but you won't have the same freshness, the same, and that's why that's kind of an industry standard, 2 years. For milk chocolate is 1 year. But if you start seeing kind of some whitish coat on your chocolate, that's just the cacao butter that found its way at the top. And but you snap it into pieces, melt it, and make some hot chocolate. You know?
Yes, please. All the time. I would love that. Yes.
So so we take it from the melanger, we pour it in here. And now it's ready to mold. So I'll just get some gloves. And for the purpose of this point in time, we won't heat up our mold. But usually we have to heat up our molds and polish them, heat up the surface because we don't want the chocolate to be shocked. Because you'll see the depositing marks of the chocolate, so it would not look nice. Doesn't So usually we want to keep it at 29 degrees Celsius because this is 30, 29, they're close. So this will make a little bit of noise. It's a vibrating table. So I'll just show you how we do it. Our chocolate bars are 60 grams, so we do 30 grams on each side. So. There we go. And then we put it on our vibrating table. Now you can kind of see the chocolate bar being formed, and then we want to make sure that the corners are filled, and now we have 3 chocolate bars.
Wow!
Yeah, so that will, we could leave them at room temperature overnight on a tray, or we can put them in the fridge for 25 minutes. And they would be ready and ready to package and sell and consume.
That's amazing.
Do you want to try?
I would love to.
Yes. Okay.
Okay.
So take a mold, and then you'll want to. So when you press on the pedal, it stops and it will dispense 31 grams.
Okay.
Okay. So you want to hold, put under, deposit, move. Okay?
Okay.
You got this.
Yes.
You got this.
Okay. Oops. Here we go. Okay. Ah!
Yes. Yes.
Okay, and then I'm going to turn around. There we go.
Yes. You're hired.
Yes. I can have a Delavoye all the time then. Do I want it to just like...
turn it one more time, just a little bit.
Turn it over?
Yeah.
Okay.
Just to get that, this one here.
Oh, yeah.
And it's just because usually we should not be doing this. It's just because our floors are uneven.
Oh, okay.
You can remove it.
All right. She's ready.
Yes, here we go.
Wow.
So this, you just made 3 chocolate bars.
Wow, I love it.
Yeah.
I've never made a chocolate bar before, so this was my very first time, and I have to say, the best. This is the best. Oh my gosh.
And then from there, once it's cool, we either package it or we break it, melt it, and make hot chocolate or Delavoye.
Or Delavoye.
Or a Delavoye.
Yes, that's the best.
Yes.
Oh my gosh. So what's your preferred method of getting your chocolate bars done? Do you prefer to keep it on the table, or do you put them in the freezer right away?
We put it in the fridge just because of space. We don't have that much space here. We're really limited. And usually with one batch, we make about 100, 120 bars. So that means it's about 36 molds. So that's why we put them in the fridge 18 at a time, and then we unmold them on the, you can kind of see the parchment paper there, put them there, and we're ready to package.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's, I mean, everybody's a bit different, so this is our way. Maybe down the road we'll change it if we become bigger and bigger.
Yes, of course. Can you tell me, I'm a little curious about this machine. What does this do?
Yeah, so this is a new, this will be a new product that we will be making with this machine. That's a panning machine. So you know when you eat chocolate covered hazelnut or almonds, or this machine covers your almonds or hazelnut or whatever with chocolate. Yeah. I I tried it, but I walked away and was busy doing other things, so kind of forgot and destroyed my my chocolate. But it's fine. I'm going to
try again.
Try again, exactly.
Yes.
Trial and error. That should be the motto here. Trial and error.
Let's go, girl.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing. So new products, of course,
Yes.
and the tried and true products, the Delavoye, the absolutely iconic, truly. She's an icon. She's a queen, truly. And a beautiful hot chocolate and some amazing pieces that you can get here.
And we're working on not only products that we sell on the shelf, but we're constantly working on bettering our confectionaries and our drinks. So on the weekends, Friday, Saturday, Sundays, we usually make a rotating hot chocolate.
Oh.
So last weekend it was a Mayan hot chocolate, spicy with chili. This weekend was the raspberry one, and next weekend, passion fruit.
The best.
Because people have been wanting, they said, we want a hot chocolate with passion fruit and a hot chocolate with raspberry, so
we deserve it.
We have heard you, so now we're giving it.
Amazing,
yes.
Beautiful. So you guys have only been open for 2 months now, right?
Yes. It's been quite the journey.
Yeah.
It's been, I thought it was going to be a very slow start, and I was going to need to go and advertise and get people in, and no, it's quite the opposite. It's a lot coming at me, and I have to try to manage and handle, and it's hard also with the supplies and the demand, and so
Well, you're making it look good.
Ah, thanks.
So good. Like, have you, honestly, the chocolate itself speaks volumes of your passion in the industry, and this is just a gorgeous little place as well. So
Thank you.
I just want to mention thank you so much
Yeah.
for having us.
Yeah, thank
Could
you.
you tell people where they can find you on social media and the best days to come visit?
Yeah, so we are on Instagram at Delavoye Chocolate, on Facebook as well, and our website, delavoyechocolate.ca. And we're on 124th Street, Unit 105, so we're kind of in a hidden little alley. And we're open from Tuesdays to Sundays, from 10 to 6, and Sundays we close at 5. But besides that, we're open.
Beautiful. And do you guys do any kind of bookings or special events? I think you
Yes.
mentioned maybe something about tastings, right?
Yes, exactly. So on Fridays so far, we've been hosting chocolate tasting experiences, and down the line we're thinking about maybe chocolate and wine, chocolate and whiskey. You know, we have too many ideas for the size of this place.
Not enough. Not enough ideas. Let's go.
We gotta slow down a bit because we need to sleep. But yeah, we do host some events, and you can go on our website. Really easy. You find the experience tab, and you can book online and reserve through our platform.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, thank you guys so much for joining us. This has been On Location with Rekha and Gabby, speaking to Antoine, our amazing chocolate maker here in Edmonton. So if you ever get a hankering for chocolate, this is the right place to be. This is the experience of, honestly, this will be the experience in Edmonton that you'll never want to miss out on. So please go ahead and check out some of our live streams. And if you loved this one, come on down and show Antoine some love, because,
Yes, please.
out here, really out here making it happen. Thank you.